everyone, I'm Miranda Sanchez, joined by Tom Marks.
Hello.
And if we're together, you know we're talking about one thing. It's Artifact.
It's kind of true.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a big thing we talk about together, yeah? So we specifically want to talk about Artifact and money, which is a very important part, right? And we've learned a lot about how we are going to use money in Artifact.
Yeah, it's interesting because we're so used to card games, digital card games nowadays, being like the Hearthstone model. Gwent follows this model, Shadowverse follows this model, all these card games do, of you can spend money on packs, or you can grind gold or dust or whatever it is to this free currency to then buy packs that way. But then once you have the cards, they're your own. And that's kind of, and you can't trade them, you can't sell them, you can't do anything. And Artifact is not doing that. Artifact is doing the physical card game model. You have to buy the game for $20, but then you get 2 starter decks and 10 packs. Packs after that are always going to be $2, but then you have the Steam Marketplace, so you can sell cards, you can trade cards with your friends, you can buy any cards you want, and so it gives it more of a physical card game feel, but that also means you can't get anything for free. You have to be putting money into this system.
Yeah, which honestly I think is fair, because like if you really don't ever want to buy a card pack after buying the initial game, you could just go to the marketplace and say like, well, I want these specific cards. I don't want to risk the chance. Just get them as you need them.
Yep.
And then go that way. And I think that's a unique opportunity, right? Because you don't have that with other games.
Yeah, and they're doing some things with rarities too that kind of help mitigate this a little bit. There are only 3 types of rarities in the game: common, uncommon, and rare. And there's 1 rare in every pack. So you're guaranteed to get one of the rarest cards in every card pack, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, so you have at least some sort of value to every card pack. Of course, you're gonna have some value, but you know you're gonna get at least a rare card,
right?
Which is very good. And then so let's talk a little bit about the marketplace itself. So I think the worry is like, you look at Dota or you look at CS:GO and you look at how certain items get to like $1,000. So how is that not going to happen in Artifact?
Right, and even in Magic the Gathering, you have cards that go for hundreds of dollars. I asked Valve specifically about this. I asked lead designer Richard Garfield, who was the creator of Magic the Gathering, specifically about this. It's something very, very on their mind, and it's something they are working actively to avoid, which I was very glad to hear. They are like steadfast in making sure that this is an affordable card game, that decks cost a manageable amount on the marketplace. I asked how much manageable meant, and they weren't giving me a specific number in that regard. But I said, what if there's a card that is like really crucial to a deck and it's $100 on the marketplace? And they straight out said, with no ifs, ands, or buts about it, that cannot happen. Whether that means that there is a hard cap or things like the rarities being cards being a little bit more accessible, just kind of limiting the prices, we don't fully know yet. So they told me they can do things like reprinting a card. So if you reprint a card, you get those same effects, but this like collector's version becomes the expensive thing, and then you don't have to worry about that collector's version in the pool of cards you're actually playing with. You can also they can limit it. Like there are certain things like the minimum buy price for a card on the marketplace is 3 cents. They said that's a technical limitation of the Steam Marketplace. But that means that they said you can buy pretty much every common card in the game for a couple bucks. Which is like, I don't even have all of the common Hearthstone cards, right? Like, that's not a thing. It seems so much more approachable to me to be like, oh yeah, I just gotta spend a couple bucks and I got all the common cards in the game, than I have to grind daily quests for gold every day. That's what they want to avoid, is the grind. And I think that they're in a position to do it with what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I think I've done enough of that in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links and then don't want to.
Right.
So I think that's exciting, and I know they've also reiterated that they want to make sure that these cards that you're building now will be viable in years. Like it's not going to be about constantly buying new cards as they release new sets to stay in the meta, right? And so that's really important. And another cool thing that we kind of briefly touched on was that you can borrow a deck from somebody.
Yeah,
that's huge.
That's something they're working on right now, is this idea of sharing decks. Valve kept emphasizing to me this idea of, like, they wanted to get back to like playing card games with your friends, because when you played Magic, you never, and maybe this is just my experience, not many people go and play Magic tournaments, right? People are usually just playing Magic in like, oh, I built this deck, you want to try it out, let's fight.
Yeah.
So they're trying to enable that, and part of that is deck sharing. If you build a deck and your friend doesn't have that deck, you can just give them the deck temporarily, play against each other, and then they give you the deck back, and you've played without having to put in this huge investment.
Yeah, and that's not really something you see in the digital space for card games.
No.
So I'm very excited about all these new announcements, and you know, having that like regular card game pricing for everything and not having some free currency, I think is a little bit more appealing to me, just because having that standard ease of access to trade and to sell your cards, like I was never able to like sell my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like even if they were really cool, like that wasn't an easy way to do that for me, or even to trade them sometimes. And so like having an online game where there's hopefully going to be a big community will make it a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm still cautiously optimistic about the whole thing. I think that there is a chance that their best intentions will go awry and you'll be seeing key cards for $20, $40, $50. But they are very committed to making sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, so the big thing is just saying, can they make that commitment for priority, and like how does that actually play out?
And from what I've talked to them, it seems to be a big one for them. So I'm hoping it works out in that way.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Artifact is out later this year. The beta is on October. And for more on Artifact, keep it on IGN.